Okay, there's something I wanted to talk about for a long time. I rewatch Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy almost on a monthly basis. I know it's a problem. I could be doing a myriad of other more productive things. Instead, I choose to sit down and rewatch every second of Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy. I don't do it because I have deep-seated issues in my brain. It's because I truly love them, and because I have deep-seated issues in my brain. The only way I could put my love for these films in perspective is if I had to make the Sophie's choice between my 15-disc Blu-ray set of Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy with extended footage, including over 26 hours of bonus content, which includes the Costa Boats documentaries and the abstract concept of world peace. Well, I think I have to choose my 15-disc Blu-ray set of Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy with extended footage, including 26 hours of bonus content, which also includes the Costa Boats documentaries, and just let the world continue to burn around me. I can admit there are some flaws in these films, whether it was inherited from the books or from the adaptation itself. But I feel like most of the common ones can be explained with a bit of imagination. For instance, the one with the eagles, maybe they just couldn't be trusted with the ring. Or the minute they crossed the Mordor border with no distraction, they'd be shot down faster than 17-year-old me asking girls out to the school formal. And I won't be going into how hilarious it was when old man Bilbo was climbing into the white ship at the end of Return of the King. It was clearly a stand-in with a wig. I mean, look at it. It's like they stapled cotton wool onto a chicken breast fillet. Now, what I want to talk about is with each viewing session, there are two particular scenes surrounding Frodo Baggins that I get extraordinarily annoyed with. No, I'm not talking about the time that Frodo betrays Sam like the little backstabbing genital wart that he is when he thinks Sam has eaten the last of the elvish bread. Because I think we can all agree that Sam was suspiciously plump even after giving his share of the food to Frodo. Either he was burning off an unusually large deposit of fat surrounding his internal organs, or the humidity in the Morgul Vale was causing some severe water retention in Sam's body. Personally, even I would be side-glancing him during meal times. No, I'm talking about the time that Sam gives Frodo a waterskin bag containing the last of the water supply, and Frodo subsequently takes a shower with it. I mean, why does he need to hold the opening 2 inches away from his face? Look, I'm not kink-shaming, but I don't understand why he needs the water to splutter down his mouth like he's competing in the World Championship of water sports. Poor old Sam must be filled with regret as he watches Frodo pour out the last remaining hopes of hydration. And let's not forget this intestinal parasite blasted Sam for supposedly eating the last of the elven bread, yet here he is, watering his crotch with the last of the water supply that was given to him by the real hero of the story that will soon have to carry his bitch ass up the mountain. The other scene I want to talk about is something we can all agree upon, that the hobbits were way out of line for only caring about Frodo at the end of the film. When the ring is destroyed, they only cheer for Frodo. When Mount Doom starts shitting out lava like a IBS sufferer who just ate a fructan-heavy chili hot pot filled with off-seafood, they only cry for Frodo. Not one mention for Sam. For all they knew, Frodo got ravaged by Nazgul long ago after he offered up the ring for the 20th time, and it was Sam that carried it all the way there. Which is not so far from the truth, lest we forget. If it wasn't for that little gangling meth addict intervening, Frodo would have most likely waltzed off with the ring, probably ending the world. By all means, cry for the hobbit who has as much integrity as a car dealership salesman who wears enough hair product to put another hole in the ozone layer. But we all know why they cry for Frodo and not Sam. It's because of a sick, twisted, perverse truth that very much like our society, hobbits value and respect those with wealth more than anyone else. See, Frodo is a trust fund kid that comes from family wealth. Family wealth that cascades generations, probably built from absorbing the living made by hobbits with real jobs that are forced to pay rent because the dream of owning their own hobbit hole's been turned into a living nightmare thanks to the practice of turning available shelter into a live service. And Sam is just his working class gardener, a servant to Master Frodo Baggins, which is probably why Frodo felt it was completely okay to splutter Sam's water all over his face and balls. Sam is expendable in the eyes of society. Do you think if they both died on Mount Doom, the headline of the Shire Weekly would be Frodo Baggins and Samwise Gamgee dead? No, the front page would be headline Frodo Baggins dead with a massive portrait of Frodo. Sam might get a mention, but he'd be on like page 10 in the summary, and all it would say is, and one other civilian died. And that would be in amongst quotes of people talking about how glorious and amazing Frodo Baggins was. Because let's be real, if you or I died in a car crash caused by a wealthy celebrity, Our name would hold about as much weight in the article as the car they were driving. And if Frodo were to run over some small hobbit children in a drunk horse riding incident, he'd just get a slap on the wrist because Judge Proud Knob Brandy Balls will determine that he shouldn't have his promising life cut short. And that's the saddest part, because before this journey, Frodo wouldn't know hardship if he sailed on a boat made out of titanium. And while the others mourned and cheered for him, little did they know that in that moment, he failed to commit. He betrayed them, because all he saw was power. All he saw was a way to keep his disturbingly hairy feet on the heads of those hobbits below him. He would have let them all burn if it meant just one more second with that ring. But the commoners don't care about that. They've already put Frodo above them in the social hierarchy just because he has more riches than a CEO who bought 15 investment properties back in the 1970s for 50 grand. And why should they care about Sam? He's just a mere gardener. He doesn't own a social media platform or have a significant investment portfolio, except for the fact that the guy's so loyal that even though Frodo had an all-powerful ring, he never once attacked him. Even though he could manhandle Frodo with his incredible farmer strength and oversized hands. Or remember that time he waded into deep water to show his undying support for Frodo, even though he knew he'd sink immediately due to his outstanding muscle mass that leaves no room for buoyancy. And even after being wrongly backstabbed, he never gave up. He still returned to save Frodo's pitiful, weak-framed bitch ass from being murdered and eaten by a giant spider and a few people from Queensland. I mean, how can you not appreciate a guy who's so intelligent that he understands the versatility of potatoes? So intimidating that creatures born from evil quake in the presence of his shadow. A man so powerful that he can slay creatures twice his size just by merely invoking the concept of his old gaffer. But remains sweet enough that he'll give you his share of the food, even though he's probably used to drinking 6 protein shakes in one sitting just to maintain his awe-inspiring muscular strength. He's the type of guy that will help you move on a hot day, a guy who seeds his torrents, a guy that will bring a delicious home-cooked meal to a picnic instead of a bag of low-end economy potato chips. Sam transcends the need to put himself above others through wealth and power. He doesn't do things to benefit himself. He does things because they're right. Samwise Gamgee imbues all the values we should admire, a construct we should all aspire to be. But it's Frodo that stays on everyone's mind. Even Aragorn's guilty of this. I'm not saying that Frodo doesn't deserve props for spearheading the company, but he sure as hell wouldn't have gotten there without the backbone and undying perseverance of Sam. And the fact that they disregard Sam in that moment is probably the most depressing and realistic part of the whole trilogy. It's just like Thorin said at the end of The Hobbit. If more of us valued people like Samwise Gamgee above a billionaire in his latest controversial social media post, it would be a merrier world. Also, Pippin's a right twat.